PJNET.TV. Connected, running bumper. We have Kathryne Leach standing by in our green room, and our chat room is awaiting our guest, and we're running a bit behind, but we're ready to go. Let's switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to PJNET.TV. Good to have you here. Sorry we're running a bit late, but there was a nemesis on the other end of the internet, not related to the coronavirus. So many of you already know our guest. She is here for the first time on PJNET.TV, and Kathryne Leach is joining us from the other end of the world, not too far from me actually. Kathryne, welcome to PJNET.TV. I can't wait to get into some of the cool stuff that you've been focused on. What's the deal with the lion?
I love lions. Lion of Judah.
I see that as a recurring theme in some of your stuff. And I think it's going to be a major part. What was it, Lion in the Garden or something like that? Is that your new one, or is that one of the other ones?
That's my first book. Okay. Yes. It's great. I would like to tell you how I titled this book.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for your patience. We just moved to North Carolina last summer, and in some of our visits, we found a beautiful statue of a lion in Glen Cove Springs. I'm messing it up.
Green Cove Springs is in Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Glendale Springs. Anyways, it's near Jefferson in Ashe County. And we found this amazing statue. And I found him a few years ago. He's in the grounds of a church. And I fell in love with him. He's huge and concrete. Anyway, I decided that he was my Lion of Judah. And I borrowed the title from my devotional book.
Okay. Kathryne, in having, we had a little problem getting connected earlier, so we're rushing, and I rushed right through introducing you, and in your bio, you have quite a fascinating bio for a one sheet, is what I think we call them. But in there, one thing that moves me, and it seems to be a recurring theme, is you keep drawing distinctions about religion and, a heart for the kingdom, so to speak. I think that's not the exact words you used, though. A kingdom. What did you call it?
I'm sorry?
There's the difference between religion and a heart for the kingdom, or something along those lines.
Yes.
And that seems to be a theme in a lot of your work.
Well, I believe that too much of Christianity, well, no, let me start over again. I think that I've been a Christian for 40 years, and sometimes we can get caught up in just going to church and going through the motions of what we're taught. But Jesus comes to make a heart change. And I want to reach a generation that believes in authenticity. They're tired of playing games. They're tired of playing church. And they've been burned by hypocrisy. So I'm very much in favor of living the kingdom, letting the king out, and being real, being Jesus, and bringing heaven to earth through the things we do and the way we love people.
I fully agree with you. One of the problems that I face is it seems like that church culture doesn't, they're not buying into that. They cling to the way they've been doing things. I think that's the definition of insanity, isn't it?
Yes.
How are we going to reach a generation that is, like you said, that they've been burned by hypocrisy and the inauthentic nature of what's been going on for decades?
Well, How are we going to reach them? I guess by living the gospel, by being authentic ourselves, by showing, by showing, not telling. That's a favorite of writers, show, not tell, show, don't tell. But Christians, we need to be authentic, and we need to be loving people, and living the Sermon on the Mount, living those values in our everyday life.
I think there's a glimmer of hope as I scan the horizon. I see some churches and even some cultures, little organizations, such as, well, Serious Writer, for example. When I go to a writing conference, you find a desire for authenticity. You find a desire for, koinonia, deep fellowship, support for one another. Do you see pockets of encouragement like that, like I do?
Oh, absolutely. I came from Melbourne, Florida, where we lived in Brevard County for 35 years. And we were blessed to be a part of a church in Melbourne for the last 14 years where we felt true fellowship, but we only were able to attain that fellowship when we made a decision that we would not sit on the sidelines, but jump in. And we've begun to establish that where we are here now in Wilkes County, North Carolina. But it takes time to build those. God bless you.
You didn't hear that. Oh, you might have. I tried to mute my mic. I've been sneezing all afternoon. I shouldn't say that. It might create a hysteria. Ben Cooper in the chat room says that he purchased your book, Lion in the Garden, at the North Carolina conference. What?
Check in the mail, Ben.
Tell us about that book. He's going to read it. But tell us about it anyway.
Okay. This devotional is a little different than most in that it's longer. The chapters are longer. The readings are longer. Mm-hmm. Many times at writers' conferences, they'll tell you that your devotionals need to be 300, 400 words. I decided I wanted to make mine a little longer because I know that people are rushed for time, but I want them to be able to encounter God. Not that you can encounter him in a short passage, but it's for the person who wants to go deeper. It's an activity journal, so it has, in addition to questions, it also has activities for people to complete in the hopes that they will encounter God during that activity.
Well, that's good. Something else from the chat room. Well said, says J.D. Wininger. And too often the church sees its role as a business. Bring them in, get their money, instead of loving them, teach them, inspire them. I kind of agree, but even in pursuing a organizational model of a business enterprise, the church has done a surprisingly poor job of doing exactly that, and at the same time doing a great job of wrecking their true mission. What do you think?
I belong to non-denominational churches, so I'm not. I can't relate to what you just said. I didn't feel like, I've never felt like my people just take my money.
Okay.
I've been blessed to have community with people for the last 15 years. So before that, I can't remember.
Okay. Well, I think that churches have become mega enterprises. I think that you can relate to that. Many churches are not. They're huge, sprawling enterprises, and they have a lot of staff, and they get involved in branding. Denominations in and by itself is a form of branding, and in our pursuit of marketing our quote product, I think is it possible that we got caught up in the process and forgot about the product?
Yes, absolutely.
Did that make more sense to you?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
part of my past professional career was in quality assurance. So when you said the word process,
Uh-huh.
I got it. I
Okay.
understood what
You
you
got
thought.
it.
Yes. I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to write this devotional, because I want to encourage people to go deeper. Get into the scripture and dig and let the scripture get into you and refine your character, and let's get some of the world out of us and get lost in who he is, so that we're out of the way and he can shine.
I think that when you look at the picture of a lion, I've looked at some of your photographs on your Facebook page and also on your website, which I have forgotten to put on the screen, but there it is. Your fascination with lions seems to run deep in the power they're in. The one that particularly caught my attention was this sort of angelic figure, with the hand out and the lion, staring them in the face. The Jesus is often portrayed as a lamb, and indeed his first ministry here on earth was in many ways that of a lamb, but the last book in the Bible tells us he's coming back as a roaring lion.
That's right, with fire in his eyes, to avenge his bride. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the white horse and the robe dipped in blood and the words on his thigh. And it's going to be frightening. But for those of us who are tucked in the secret place, it will still be frightening, but maybe a little less so.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can watch it on the internet, go get in a cave or a bunker somewhere and get away from all that fire and brimstone and hell and damnation. And I think about when I see some of the craziness going on in response to a something that on the big scale of things isn't near as significant as the end of time, as Armageddon, as literally all hell breaking loose. It's going to be worse trying to buy toilet paper, in that kind of scenario. Basic necessities, nothing is. We're going to have total dysfunctionality. You think?
Well, that's where the kingdom comes in. That's where we live by faith and not by sight. That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say. If I believe that what if we had to pray over our food and have it multiply to feed our kids? What if that's what we had to do? Are we ready to do that? That's part of my motivation for writing. I don't write to further my income. I'd be out of toilet paper. I write because there's a message burning in my heart, and that message is, let's be strong for Jesus. Let's be all we can be for him. Because like I think you and I were talking earlier today about getting to an age in our life where we want to make a difference. I want to leave an impact. I want to impact another generation. And so that's what my second book is about, Tattooed King, The Mystery of Jesus, a Tattooed King. And I'm bringing it up because I want to reach a generation of which 40% are not involved in religion. It doesn't mean they don't have faith, but they're not involved. Only 40% are involved. So 60% of people 40 and under are not involved. That's a huge harvest field.
You also have a fascination with a tattooed king. Where'd that come from?
That's a hook. I'll just be very honest with you.
Oh,
I don't believe I don't believe that he has a tattoo. But Revelation 19:16, Isaiah 49 says that we are engraved on the palm of his hand.
Okay.
Revelation 19:16 says that when he comes back on his white horse, that on his robe and on his thigh is the name King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So is it possible that he has, I mean, how is that? How is that? How is that written? How is that there? I know he has a glorified body, but the point is, if I can pique someone's interest to get them to pick up a book, to get them to search with me as I lead them into who he is, then I've captured their attention and I've entered their world.
Yeah. Last night, speaking of tattoos, our guest, Rachel Colby, her website is called Tattoo It on Your Heart. I think at least by metaphorical reference, a tattoo is permanent. Okay. One of the things that I kind of urge young people, before you decide, it's kind of like suicide. This is not a reversible decision. Okay. The tattoo is permanent, and it becomes actually a part of one. And so, yeah, when you say that Jesus is King of Kings, whether by tattoo or other permanent marking, the fact is, no matter who you are or who you think is God, the day is going to come when every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I wonder what that day will be like. I wonder how those people will feel who have clung a lifetime to a false religion or lack of religion at all. I wonder how they'll feel.
Well, I want to do my part so that number is lessened.
There you go.
I don't know how they're going to feel, and I don't want anybody to go to hell, because hell's real. I haven't been there, but I've read enough accounts of people that have, and that's not a coincidence that the Lord is letting people have glimpses of the afterlife so that we can take this seriously.
Now, your next book has already been written. Am I correct? It's in manuscript form.
Yes.
And you are seeking to traditionally publish this. Is this something new?
Yes. I sent it off to a publisher this week and hoping to generate some interest. And if not, I will continue to send out queries because I believe in this project, and I believe that there's a timeliness to this project that feels now. It feels now. In the meantime, if you have a faith tattoo and you'd like to share it with me, I'd be honored to put that on my Instagram page.
I hope you get a bunch of them. I'm not, I was one time, I think I just mentioned it in a conversation to my wife. I said, I'd like to get a tattoo. And, women have a way of doing things every once in a while, right? She said, Mark, would you put a bumper sticker on a Ferrari? I don't have a tattoo. I don't.
Well, I don't either.
Okay, I don't blame you. Okay, well, listen, I'm sorry we got started a little late, and I wanted to run a little bit extra time to help you, share your heart with us, and we thank you for sharing. If there ever was a heart on fire for the kingdom, a kingdom mindset, which is different from religion, I am so proud of you for proclaiming that message, because it is one that the church needs to hear. And I hope that the sound of your voice resonates around the world, not for your glory, but for the glory of God. Kathryne, we appreciate you coming on tonight, sharing with us, and we hope that your book finds its way to that publisher and finds its way into a very dark world. We appreciate your ministry.
Thank you so much for the pleasure of being here and the honor to speak. Thank you.
Great. Appreciate it, Kathryne. Folks, that was Kathryne Leach. Her first time here on PJNET.TV. Isn't that great? Hey, listen, I know we're in a hurry, okay? I wanted to say a special thank you. If you'll notice it, I have this wonderful mug that says Coach Prasick on the other side, of course, is the PJNET.TV logo. Anyway, this was given to me as a gift. Doug Carter presented it to me at the North Carolina Christian Writers Conference. I'm so honored and proud to have this. Really am. Y'all are the greatest. Folks, I'm in a hurry. We've got Dale Didway coming up in just a few minutes, and I've got to leave you with two questions. One, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Question two is, when was that really? It is my sincere, heartfelt hope that none of us would ever be satisfied with either answer.